Today, the United States, Israel, and Iran are locked in an escalating shadow war, a conflict that threatens to drag the entire Middle East and potentially the world into a broader global crisis. Yet, looking back to the late 1970s reveals a geopolitical map that is almost unrecognizable. At that time, Israel and the United States viewed Iran as their most vital strategic partner in the region. Under the rule of the Shah, relations were so close that Israel managed major infrastructure projects inside Iran, while Washington treated Tehran as its regional anchor. Geopolitical decisions made in the wake of a single historical spark forged these rivalries. They are the result of a specific chain reaction rather than ancient, unavoidable religious conflict. That chain reaction began in 1979. Hundreds of thousands of Iranians took to the streets to overthrow the Shah, installing an Islamic republic led by Ayatollah Khomeini. This new leadership immediately severed all ties with the West and rejected the legitimacy of the Israeli state. By 1982, the friction turned into a military invasion. Israel entered Lebanon to conduct a tactical strike against Palestinian militants launched from the northern border. The Israeli army successfully pushed out the PLO, but the invasion left southern Lebanon in ruins. The military occupation created a power vacuum and fueled deep grievances among the local Shiite population. Iran's newly formed Revolutionary Guard moved into the Bekaa Valley to capitalize on this resentment. They began organizing, funding, and radicalizing the local population into a new proxy force. That organization became Hezbollah. By using overwhelming force to secure its border, Israel birthed its most persistent strategic nightmare, officially triggering the Shadow War. In 1991, following the Gulf War, the United States and Israel attempted to design a new Middle East at a peace conference in Madrid. They invited global leaders and Arab neighbors, but intentionally excluded Iran from the process. Sidelined, Tehran responded by hosting a counter-conference. They officially threw their support behind Palestinian militant groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad, intending to sabotage the American-led peace process. Tactical escalations continued in 1992 when Israel launched a targeted helicopter strike to assassinate Hezbollah's leader, Abbas al-Musawi. The assumption in Jerusalem was that removing the leader crippled the organization. The response was swift and global. Just a month later, a retaliatory car bomb leveled the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina, killing 29 people. Tactical strikes and diplomatic isolation did not contain the threat. Instead, the shadow war became global, shifting toward unpredictable, asymmetrical violence. After the September 11th attacks, a rare moment of cooperation emerged. Iran and the United States shared a common enemy in the Taliban, and Tehran actively assisted the American military in its campaign to take Kabul. That cooperation ended abruptly when President George W. Bush publicly labeled Iran part of an axis of evil, ending any hope for a diplomatic reset. Panic set in across the Iranian leadership in 2003. As American forces successfully toppled Saddam Hussein in neighboring Iraq, Tehran became convinced they were the next target for regime change. In a final attempt to avoid conflict, Iran sent a secret grand bargain fax to the U.S. State Department. They offered full disarmament of Hezbollah and transparency for their nuclear program in exchange for survival and recognition. Washington ignored the offer. Confident after two swift military victories, officials assumed the Iranian regime was on the verge of its own collapse. This flowchart shows the direct results of that silence. Convinced an invasion was imminent, Tehran pivoted to its ultimate insurance policy, rapidly accelerating the construction of uranium enrichment facilities. Strategic hubris and the refusal to negotiate directly incentivized Iran to pursue a nuclear deterrent. By the early 2010s, years of uranium enrichment and cyber warfare had reached a tipping point. With thousands of centrifuges spinning and red lines being crossed, the region faced the prospect in a large-scale, catastrophic war. The Obama administration pushed for a diplomatic solution, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signaled his readiness to launch unilateral military strikes to stop the program by force. This tension led to a major breakthrough in 2015. The Iran nuclear deal successfully paused the nuclear threat by placing strict limits on enrichment in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. The reprieve was brief. In 2018, the Trump administration unilaterally withdrew from the deal. reviving the cycle of crushing economic sanctions, proxy violence, and nuclear escalation. This 40-year shadow war is a man-made architecture built on missed opportunities, strategic hubris, and the blowback that inevitably follows the use of overwhelming force.